Alan Ritchson never looked up to action stars before becoming Reacher, but imitated this comedy genius. Alan Ritchson plays it straight as Jack Reacher in his Prime Video series, but the actor recently recalled how he used to show his funny side by imitating his hero, Jim Carrey. Having grown up watching Carrey's classic outrageous comedies such as Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Ritchson said that the actor's physical, goofy, and unafraid style was something that he wanted to emulate at the time. Ritchson has recently found his niche as big tough guys in movies like Fast X and his Reacher series, but he has also shown his softer side in his hit Ordinary Angels. However, some of his other roles have not been quite as serious, such as Fired Up, The Turkey Bowl, and Blue Mountain State, which currently has a sequel in development, and that comedy side of Ritchson was almost certainly influenced by his love of Carrey. Speaking with The Hollywood Reporter, Ritchson explained how he did not really care that much about big action stars of his youth, and it was Carrey that became his ultimate idol. He was my hero. When Ace Ventura came out in 1994, I was in 6th grade, and I was enamored. He was so physical, goofy, and unafraid. I'd never seen anything like it. I dressed up as Ace Ventura for 3 Halloweens in a row. I showed up to school and wouldn't break character the entire time. I had the hair, the business card, and I would walk up to people at their lunch tables and say, "Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions." People hated it, but I loved that it made most people laugh. Jim Carrey knew how to do that, and it's a gift. Alan Ritchson recalls being stopped from meeting his idol by a security guard. Many big stars have an entourage of security around them at all times, and back at the peak of his movie career, Jim Carrey was no exception. This was something that prevented Ritchson from actually meeting his idol back in the late 90s when he was filming The Truman Show. As Ritchson remembered, he was able to speak to Carrey from a distance while visiting the location of filming on the movie, but was unable to get too close thanks to security. He said, "We waited for him to come out of his trailer. My mom spotted him and went, 'There he is.' I unveiled my poster and said, 'Hey Jim.' He looked over and did this big belly laugh by arching his spine backwards. My brother and I ran over to him, but a security guard was there. He put his hand on a gun and said, 'Don't go any closer.' Jim was caught in this place where he wanted to sign it but had to go to work, so he just wandered off. That's as close as I've gotten." Alan Ritchson will return to Prime Video in Reacher Season 3 by the start of 2025, but as well as revealing that a Blue Mountain State sequel is in the works, he will also be showing funny side with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the holiday action comedy, The Man with the Bag. Alan Ritchson's rise to action hero status as the towering and formidable Jack Reacher in Amazon's Reacher is the kind of Hollywood success story that feels almost faded. With his 6'3" frame, chiseled physique, and commanding screen presence, he seems tailor-made for the role of Lee Child's wandering vigilante. And yet, in a surprising revelation, Ritchson never idolized the classic action heroes of the past. Instead, his biggest influence came from the world of comedy, specifically the unmatched physicality and timing of one of the greatest comedians of all time. A different kind of inspiration. Most action stars have a predictable list of role models: Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis, or even modern icons like Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. These legends define the action genre with their explosive performances, rugged charisma, and larger-than-life personas. But Ritchson, before stepping into the boots of Jack Reacher, didn't find himself drawn to these traditional action archetypes. Instead, he gravitated toward a different kind of performer, one who used physicality not for brute force, but for impeccable comedic effect. That performer? Jim Carrey. Yes, the same Jim Carrey who bent reality with his rubber-faced expressions in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber. The same Jim Carrey who dominated 1990s comedy with his fearless, over-the-top performances, blending slapstick humor with an almost supernatural ability to manipulate his body for laughs. For Ritchson, Carrey's approach to performance wasn't just hilarious, it was inspiring. From comedy to combat, while it might seem strange for an action star to take notes from a comedian, the connection makes perfect sense when you break it down. Carrey's performances were built on a deep understanding of movement, exaggeration, and control. His comedy was physical in a way that transcended dialogue, relying on body language, facial expressions, and timing to maximize impact. Ritchson, who began his career in more comedic and lighthearted roles, such as his breakout as a Quayman in Smallville, saw the power in that kind of commitment to movement. His ability to control and push his body to the limits became a defining trait, even when he transitioned into action roles. It's no coincidence that in Reacher, Ritchson moves with the kind of precision and calculated intensity that defines great physical performers. Whether he's taking down an entire group of enemies in a brutal bar fight or standing completely still to deliver a line with quiet menace, his physicality is as much a tool as his dialogue. The art of physical performance. Ritchson's admiration for Carey speaks to a deeper truth about performance. Physicality isn't just about looking the part, it's about fully embodying a character. Carey, despite being known for comedy, was always deeply immersed in his roles, transforming himself into whatever the scene demanded. That level of commitment resonated with Ritchson. "Jim Carrey was my biggest influence growing up," Ritchson revealed in an interview. "The way he used his body, his expressions, his commitment to a character, it was genius. I wanted to bring that same kind of full-body performance into whatever I did." And while Ritchson has since become known for his action chops, there's an unmistakable precision in the way he moves, a level of control and intention that echoes Carey's own approach to comedy. Whether he's cracking skulls as Jack Reacher or delivering a subtle smirk before a fight, that same mastery of movement is there. Balancing comedy and action. Ritchson's ability to bring humor into his performances also sets him apart from many of his action contemporaries. While Reacher is undoubtedly a serious show filled with intense moments, it also has sharp wit, often through Reacher's dry humor and deadpan delivery. This is another area where Carey's influence comes into play. While Carey is known for his extreme comedic performances, his greatest strength is his ability to balance humor with depth. Even in his more dramatic roles, such as The Truman Show and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, he brings an emotional weight that makes his characters feel real. Ritchson has a similar ability. He understands when to lean into humor and when to pull back, making his version of Jack Reacher more than just a one-note tough guy. His comedic timing, honed from years of watching Carey and perfecting his own delivery, adds an extra layer to his performance, making Reacher not just intimidating, but also incredibly entertaining to watch. A career defined by versatility. Looking at Ritchson's career trajectory, it's clear that his influences have made him a uniquely versatile actor. He's played everything from superheroes, Titan's Hawk, to military operatives, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, to comedic roles, Blue Mountain State's Thad Castle. Each role has showcased different aspects of his talent, but the common thread is his control over his physicality. Even in a show like Reacher, where the focus is on raw strength and intimidation, you can see traces of his comedic background in the way he moves, reacts, and delivers lines. He doesn't just play Reacher as a blunt force instrument, he gives him personality, depth, and even a hint of humor, making him a more well-rounded and engaging character. The future of Ritchson's action stardom. With Reacher cementing Ritchson as a leading man in the action genre, the future looks bright for him. But if his admiration for Carey has taught us anything, it's that he won't be content to simply be an action star. His performances will always carry that extra level of depth, movement, and unpredictability, traits that separate the truly great actors from the merely competent ones.